Hello, this video is to help you navigate Star Renaissance, to look at data, to look at resources, to look at the student scores. So one of the ways that I find it easiest is to go to LAUSD Clever. I have bookmarked the apps that I love to use so they could stay in my favorite section. This is Star Renaissance. Click on it. You may also launch it straight from Schoology, and it will take you to the same destination. In this video, again, I want to show you how to look at the data for the students that just took Star Renaissance in the beginning of the year, once we get to middle of the year and end of the year. So when you navigate through the page, you see all these tabs. What I want to draw your attention is go ahead and click on Start Reading, and you want to look at the record book. You may explore the other options that you see here, but this is going to be your best friend. Once you go into the record book, you're going to be able to see all the classes that are rostered to you. So let's start exploring. I see here my subject is either reading or math. The students will be taking both. And then the next one is the class that you're rostered. So this is the number I want you to pay attention to, period 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, and homeroom. So I'm interested to know how my students are doing in reading. I teach math, so therefore I want to make sure that I am supporting them with the reading, the writing, the listening, and the speaking skill. I'm going to focus on period 1, and then I get to see my students rostered, and I get to see their scale score, and then the PR score, which I'll talk about in a minute, and when they took the assessment as well. So if I wanted to compare color with where they are, I hover over reading, and it tells me level 1 is the lowest, followed by level 2. So where we want them to be is from level 3 all the way up to level 4. The goal in reading is at 20%. The goal for math is at 12%. So 12% of our student populations, we want them scoring at level 3 or higher. And 20% of our population in reading, we want them to score level 3 or higher. So I go and I see everything. This one, for instance, is a very low score. A probable non-reader is what Star Renaissance is telling us. And the score is in the range that usually occurs when a student is randomly choosing a response. So Jamie Hernandez, whenever she takes the middle of the year, that's someone that I would focus my attention to and see what she is doing or not doing. So these are all the scores. You're going to notice some red, some blues. What does this mean? The student dropped in a category level from his or her previous test. So Nicole has taken this test before and the score dropped, probably in 6th grade. There is no score. Christian Santos took the Spanish version of this, and this is why the score has moved over to Spanish and not in English. Another student that dropped, another student that dropped, and a Spanish speaker and a student that dropped as well. So scale score is SS, percentile rank is PR. And if you click on scale score, it will take you and give you a explanation of what that is. And the same thing for percentile rank. You click on it and it's going to talk to you about what it is and how it's used. So great piece of information. I also could look at the comparison between Start Reading English. This means that they took it in English, and Start Math, and they took it in English as well. So now I have a side-by-side, and this information you will be able to add to your Start Focus students. So I could see this is beginning of the year because of it was taken in the fall. And I could see that the student Sochi, how well she did for reading and for math as well. As I scroll down my roster, I get to see that information for the same student and how they did in English, reading, and in English. Great. I can print it, save it, I could download it. At the same time, I want to study a particular student's test score. So this one is reading for Sochi in my period 1. It's giving me a projected score by the end of the year. If you notice, it's about maybe 21 points higher than previous. And this was in reading. If I want to see math, I switch it over, and this will be the math score and the projected gains as well. If I wanted to see mastery, I could click on it. But using this platform to prescribe is something that's new. So I would tell you, look at it for the scores and leave the prescription alone, because we'll be using iReady. So in here, it'll give you a detailed report of where each student is. You could expand this by looking at the projected mastery. So it's projecting that there's an 18% growth for this one, and all of the other grows accordingly. You could open them further if you have more students selected so you can see it. So that is how we determine how the students are doing. So as you know where your STAR focused students are, you're able to see their scores in reading and math. This was period 1. I could go to the next period and it will be the same thing, giving me a roster. This was the latest assessment in math. I could do a screen comparison to look at the math and the reading, so I could get a better picture of the students that are in my class and where they would need their support. I'm sure you're wondering, what do I do with this? Go ahead and explore it and see what it does. I looked at it and it prescribes lessons for students based on their scores that you could use to help the students improve. So with that, this is how we're going to be using the STAR Renaissance and looking at the scores, looking how they're going to correlate to the IABs, to the summative, and to the academic grades as well. So keep on exploring it, keep on looking at it, and maybe you might discover something new that I haven't been able to find. Share that with us, the coaches, so like that we all grow and use this data to effectively reduce the achievement gap and also be able to support our students with enrichment and intervention.